Hi everybody, this is Agnes from Sediment, and today I want to share some real-life advice for wine lovers and collectors who buy wine for drinking, not investment. Wine collecting is often built around this mystique of rare bottles, back vintages, and dream cellars that one day might rise in value. But much less often do we talk about the reality of building a wine collection with bottles that you will actually be excited to open and pour for yourself and your friends. So today, let's drop the romance around wine collecting and go through a few practical things that actually matter when we are buying wine to drink rather than for monetization. Fill your wine shelf, wine fridge, or if you are fortunate enough to have one, your cellar with wines that you like and actually will want to drink. Not wines that critics, influencers, or YouTubers say you should like or should drink. And certainly not with wines that someone tells you will increase in price. The reality is that it is very difficult to sell wines from a private cellar, even more so if you do not have a proper storage. Instead, fill your collection with wines that your hand naturally reaches for when you open your wine fridge. For example, I appreciate great Ribera del Duero, but my hand usually reaches for Rioja instead. And I almost never have champagne, because it is the drink that I choose most often. Therefore, build your wine cellar based on drinkability rather than prestige of brands and profitability. You will be much happier in the end. We all start somewhere. I started my wine collection at the bottom of a closet where it was relatively dark and away from any heating device. For others, it might be storage under the stairs or garage. But dark environment with steady, cool temperatures is always a better option. If you are investing in wine for your future enjoyment and as your collection grows, you should really make sure that your wine is stored adequately. It acts as a kind of insurance, extending your wine's life and potentially drinking window and reducing the risk of a disappointing bottle. I live in an apartment, so my best choice was a wine fridge. It does not ensure humidity, but it controls temperature and limits light exposure. And while it felt like an uncomfortable investment at the time, I feel it has completely paid off as I have had no issues with bottle quality. So now I have 2 wine fridges. Find a special day for them or make the day special by opening them. In my previous video, I told you about Christopher Burr, Master of Wine, who evaluates wine cellars. He said that many times he could see that certain wines had clearly been saved for a special occasion, but now, after the owners were gone, their children were selling the cellars. And I suppose if your progeny love wine and you know they will enjoy it, that is not as sad as seeing that special bottle you cherished so much simply being sold off. But this story does not have to take such a dark turn. Sometimes, while we wait for that special occasion, we forget that wine might not be able to wait as long. And when we are finally ready to open that bottle, it is past its prime, or maybe even has turned into vinegar and we have missed it. It is always, always better to open wine too soon than too late. Great wine will be great at young age as well. I am the worst person to give this advice. I have my notebook where I list my wines. I am old school, I like things paper. But the truth is, I do it once. Document every wine I have, and then when new wine enters my wine fridge, I forget to write it down. It always backfires. Either I miss the drinking window and the wine goes bad, or I think I have a wine when I actually do not, or vice versa. I once thought I had already opened the last bottle of a certain wine, when in fact I had not. So I ended up ordering more, and now I have extras. Anyway, knowing what you have, which wines are best to open, and which wines enter and leave your collection is a smart way to organize your cellar. For those with more extensive collection, it is also smart to note where the wines are stored, on which shelf or hidden under which other wine box. It is very easy to lose track of your bottles. And while we are on the subject, I have realized that I probably should get another notebook, a subtle note to my notebook addiction, for wines that I have needled. Coravin is a great way to preserve wine for longer, and it allows to enjoy several wines over the course of an evening without necessarily finishing a bottle. But if you are anything like me, chances are that you might end up with a lot of bottles that have been pierced, and at some point it becomes easy to lose track. And depending on the closure, some bottles might succumb to oxygen faster than others. So in order to avoid disappointing evenings, I would advise to keep a track on the wines you Coravin as well. This may sound like a silly advice, especially at a time when the hottest topic of discussion is the wine industry struggling, falling consumption, and growers being paid to remove their vineyards. But I have always been a strong advocate of moderation and balance. So don't buy more than you, your family, and your closest friends can actually consume. I will refer to one of my previous points. It is genuinely very difficult to liquidate a private wine cellar. And nowadays, it is completely normal and easy to buy boxes of 3 bottles or mixed cases of 6 or 12 wines. This way, your wine cellar will be more diverse, and instead of having 6 different wines in 12 bottle quantities, you might have 24 different wines in 3s, allowing you to explore a variety of regions, grape varieties, and wine styles. It also offers more flexibility in case your palate changes, which it often does. I have experienced it myself. You might enjoy a certain wine style now, but after 10 years, when those wines are ready to be opened, you might notice that your hand is no longer reaching for them. The one downside, of course, is that if we find something that we really love, we might finish it rather quickly. But you might identify those special wines early and then invest more deeply in those bottles later once your wine taste has truly established itself. I say this from my heart. The chances of actually making money from private wine cellar are lower, harder, slower, and less profitable than you are being told. It is not like the stock market where you have one obvious marketplace for trading, and most likely you will need advice and expertise from a broker or a merchant. Furthermore, provenance is very important. That means being able to show proof of where the wine was bought, how it was stored, and whether temperature stability was maintained, for example. And if you cannot provide that, chances are great that you will either not be able to sell the wine at all, or you will be offered a deal far below that you expected, or even below what you paid yourself. And the majority of wines are not investment grade. Even many expensive wines do not qualify. It is quite common for a wine, once storage costs are included, to end up costing more than the same bottle currently available on the market. So yes, wine investment can be interesting and exciting, but it should definitely not be the main reason for building a wine collection. Thank you very much for watching this video. Let me know in the comment section below what is your approach to wine collecting, and have you ever trusted a wine critic just to end up disappointed? And make sure to watch this video next.